Welcome to this deep dive. We're here to unpack the information you need, and today, well, it's something pretty unique.
It really is. We're going straight into the complete May 2025 forecast for Pisces,
Yeah.
directly from Lorenzo, our friend.
Exactly. And this is special because Lorenzo, his insights are just something else. He shared this whole forecast with us, knowing we'd want to share it.
And we mean the entire forecast,
Yeah.
verbatim. We haven't edited a thing, haven't summarized. You get in pure Lorenzo.
Yeah, we've both known him a while now, and his grasp on these energies, it's really quite striking, especially for Pisces listening. This could be, well, really significant.
Definitely. The theme he's laid out for May, it says it all. From dreamer to root worker, Pisces destroys illusion and rebuilds reality from the bones of the soul.
Wow. That's a journey. It's not just about dreaming anymore, is it? It's about making things real, anchoring them.
Anchoring those dreams, building something tangible from that deep soul level. It feels like taking back power.
It does. And knowing Lorenzo, that's not just flowery language. He sees things very, very clearly. So, okay, let's get into it. The complete May 2025 Pisces forecast, Lorenzo's words.
Okay, so Lorenzo starts with week 1. That's April 28th through May 5th. The title is The Illusion Cracks, the Channel Collapses, the Soul Speaks.
Intense start.
Right. He dives into April 28th first, the new moon in Taurus. That's in the 3rd house for Pisces.
Okay.
And he points out this new moon squares Mars and Leo in the 6th, Pluto and Aquarius in the 12th, and Lilith and Scorpio in the 9th. That's a lot of tension.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a complex setup. So how does Lorenzo read that? What does that mean for Pisces?
He calls it a collision between the daily grind, 3rd house communication routines, and divine insight.
Okay, like practical life hitting up against something bigger.
Exactly. And he says it brings up secret fears, ancestral trauma, buried timelines. Also this sense that belief systems you've inherited now turn against your higher truth.
Ooh, that sounds like a pressure cooker week, internally and maybe externally too.
Definitely. And then Lorenzo says this very directly. You can't talk your way through this. You can't vibe higher.
Right. No quick fixes.
No, he continues. This is a psychic purge of polluted language, old narratives, and spiritual bypassing.
Spiritual bypassing. So, like, you can't just slap a positive affirmation on deep issues.
Precisely. He says, your mind must become a ritual space, not a refuge, not a hiding place. It's about active engagement, not avoidance.
That makes sense. Real inner work. Okay, so that takes us towards the end of that first week.
Then May 5th arrives, and Pluto turns retrograde in the 12th house.
The 12th house. Deep waters for Pisces.
Yeah.
Subconscious, hidden things.
Exactly. And Lorenzo says this means confronting spiritual patterns you didn't choose. Things maybe passed down or just absorbed somehow.
Right. And what else?
Also, gifts that frighten your family, like maybe unique psychic abilities that weren't understood or accepted.
That's interesting.
And he mentions voices, dreams, and messages that aren't yours but came through you anyway. That Piscean receptivity.
Yeah, like being a channel. But he puts a boundary on that, doesn't he?
He does, a really strong one. He states, you are no longer allowed to channel what you cannot hold.
Wow. Okay. So it's about integration, taking responsibility for the energy you carry.
That's how it feels. It's a call for spiritual maturity, maybe. So that's week 1.
Intense. Okay, what about week 2? That's May 6th to 13th.
Lorenzo titles this one, The Temple Becomes the Body. The Message Finds the Mouth.
Ooh, I like that. Embodiment.
On May 12th, Mercury in Taurus squares Pluto. Lorenzo's take. A conversation, download, or decision hits like lightning.
Like a sudden realization?
Yeah, or news. He says it could trigger panic, grief, or déjà vu, but it's a soul memo you've ignored too long.
Like the universe finally making you listen, even if it's jarring.
Exactly. That undeniable truth breaking through. Then May 13th, we get the full moon in Scorpio, 9th house.
Scorpio full moon, always potent. 9th house is about beliefs, higher learning.
Right. And this one trines Saturn and the North Node, which are in Pisces, in the 1st house. But it opposes Uranus in Taurus in the 3rd.
Okay, that's a dynamic mix. Trines offering flow, opposition, creating tension. What's Lorenzo's interpretation?
He says this moon destroys your inherited spiritual framework and gives you back your organic knowing.
Destroys the old framework to make space for innate wisdom.
Yes. And then he gives these direct commands. Stop studying. Start remembering.
Less intellectual, more intuitive.
And also, your truth is not a theory. It's a thunderclap in your bones.
Wow. Feeling it, not just thinking it. Trusting that gut feeling, that deep inner knowing that Pisces often has.
Yeah. cutting through all the external noise, all the shoulds and shouldn'ts about spirituality, and finding what actually resonates deep inside.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, week 3, May 14th to 20th.
This one's called Your Voice Rewrites the Vibration of Home.
Okay, voice and home. Interesting combo.
So May 17th, the Sun conjuncts Uranus in Taurus. That's the third house, again, communication, local environment.
Sun conjunct Uranus. That usually means surprises, sudden shifts, breakthroughs.
Exactly. Lorenzo expects a shocking message, psychic revelation, or spiritual visitor.
A spiritual visitor. Interesting.
Or a spontaneous outburst of divine intelligence. And this part is fascinating. A rupture in communication that becomes a liberation.
So like a breakdown in how you normally talk or connect actually frees you up somehow.
That's the idea. Maybe breaking old patterns opens up more authentic ways of expressing yourself.
Okay, and then?
Then May 20th, the Sun moves into Gemini, into the fourth house home, roots, family, foundations, and it's sextile Saturn in Aries in the second.
Sun in Gemini, 4th house. New ideas about home. Sextile Saturn adds structure, maybe.
Lorenzo sees it as the beginning of building a new root system. Not physical yet, but vibrationally real.
Vibrationally real. So it's about the feeling, the energy of home first.
Yes, he says you are redefining what home feels like, from safety to sovereignty.
Ah, that's a key shift. Not just seeking safety, but finding empowerment, authority within your sense of home.
Building that foundation on inner strength, self-governance, not just relying on outside things for security.
Got it. Okay, week 4, May 21st to 27th.
Lorenzo titles this, Your Reality Becomes the Ritual.
Making the everyday sacred.
Seems like it. Then we get to the new moon on May 28th. This one's in Gemini, back in that fourth house of home and roots.
Okay, another Gemini activation there.
And this new moon is conjunct Mercury, sextile Saturn and Neptune in the second house, resources, values, and trine Pluto back in the 12th, subconscious spirituality.
Wow, that new moon is connecting a lot of powerful points. Home, resources, subconscious depths.
It really is.
Yeah.
And Lorenzo's statement here is, well, it's incredibly potent. He says, this is your ancestral anchor point.
Ancestral anchor point.
A moment when you stop performing spiritual wisdom and start embodying mystical currency.
Embodying mystical currency. That sounds like taking that Pleiadian connection to the unseen and making it like valuable, tangible in the real world.
Exactly. He goes on, your home becomes your altar. Your money becomes your spell. Your words become medicine. Your body becomes your prophet.
It's like infusing every part of life with that spiritual essence. Living it, not just thinking about it.
Yeah. So your reality is the ritual. Okay, then the final days, May 28th to 31st.
What's the theme here?
This isn't grounding. This is spiritual sovereignty.
Ooh, okay. Challenging a common idea.
Right. On May 30th, the Sun conjuncts Mercury in Gemini, again in the fourth. Lorenzo states, the story you now tell, the words, the content, the mantra, the intention replaces 20 years of programming.
20 years of programming, wiped clean by the story you choose now. That's huge.
It is, he urges, speak wisely, declare prophetically, act as if God is listening, because she is. Lorenzo always emphasizes that power of intention in speech.
He really does. And here's where he flips the script on typical advice, right?
Yes, this is classic Lorenzo insight. He says, they'll tell Pisces, ground yourself, be more realistic. But the truth is, you are not meant to ground. You are meant to terraform reality from divine code.
Terraform reality, not just cope with it, but reshape it. That's a powerful reframe for Pisces.
Totally. He continues, Saturn leaves your sign May 26th. That's your initiation. You're no longer dreaming. You're structuring magic into the material plane.
The end of that long Saturn transit, becoming architects of magic.
And he concludes this thought. You aren't a mystic anymore. You're a root worker of destiny.
From dreamer to root worker, it comes full circle.
Exactly. And then you get those absolutely killer Lorenzo mic drop quotes. Want to hear them?
Oh, absolutely. Lay them on us.
Okay. May 2025. Pisces stops escaping reality and starts writing it.
Boom.
Your gift is not your vision. It's your ability to rebuild a world no one else believes in yet.
Yes. The building part.
Your pain was the prophecy. Your voice is now the spell.
Oh, powerful alchemy.
This isn't spirituality. It's energetic warfare, and you're finally armed.
Wow.
And you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to redesign the frequency grid.
Redesign the frequency grid. That's cosmic level stuff.
It really is. Each one just hits, you know?
They do. And then Lorenzo has a direct call to action for Pisces listening.
Yeah, he does. He says, if this cracked open the spiritual contract you didn't know you signed, like, share, and subscribe.
Share the resonance.
And if you're ready to embody the divine system, You came here to channel book your personal astrology or tarot session with me, Lorenzo? There isn't a reading. It's your ritual. It's your root.
Yeah.
It's your resurrection.
It's your ritual, your root. It's your root. It's your resurrection.
It's your ritual, your root, your resurrection. Not just information, but transformation.
Exactly. And he finishes that part with, links in the description, let's terraform your truth.
Let's terraform your truth. Love that. But there's more, isn't there? Lorenzo added something extra profound.
Oh, yeah. He adds this thought. Yes, and this is the deepest rupture in Pisces timeline, the kind no other astrologer is touching, because it's invisible unless you read like a prophet, not a technician.
Okay, so he's saying there's a layer here others might miss.
Right. This leads into what he calls the wow moment. May 2025 isn't just a turning point for Pisces. It's the soul's extraction from the matrix of submission.
The soul's extraction? Okay. And he states this, almost like a parenthesis, but crucial. Your DNA has been coded for sacrifice. This month, it gets recoded for sovereignty.
Whoa! Recoding DNA from sacrifice to sovereignty, that's fundamental.
It is. Then he contrasts his view. Every astrologer is distracted by the Gemini transits in your fourth house, calling it new home, family healing, or redefining comfort. That's superficial.
So he's saying the usual interpretations are missing the real depth.
He is. He says, here's what they miss. You're not building a home. You're breaking the spell of spiritual homelessness.
Breaking the spell. So it's about an internal state, not just external circumstances.
Exactly. You've wandered lifetimes between the dream realm and the human realm, and you've never been able to hold both. That feeling of not quite belonging anywhere.
Yeah, that resonates for the Pisces archetype.
But now, he says, with Pluto retrograde in the 12th, Saturn's final weeks in your first, Mercury, Sun, and the new moon activating your root, 4th, and trine to Pluto, Lilith in the 9th square to all this. It's a confluence of major energies.
All hitting at once.
It's not just your identity that's shifting. It's your soul's karmic programming being rewritten from the underworld up.
Rewritten from the underworld up. Deep foundational change. That really reframes the whole month.
It does. Then he goes into what he calls the real unspoken prophecy.
Okay, what's the prophecy?
It's about what Pisces was taught. He says, you were taught that. Your gift made you weird. Your sensitivity made you weak. Your spirituality had to be hidden. Your worth was in what you could feel for others.
Ouch. Those old limiting beliefs.
Yeah. But then he declares, that lie ends this May.
A definitive end.
Mm-hmm. And he emphasizes, this is the first month in 14 years where you no longer confuse empathy with obedience. You no longer mistake emotional labor for divine calm.
I know they're huge.
You no longer channel for others before you build a throne for your own voice.
Prioritizing your own inner authority, your own message, that's powerful.
And finally, he reveals what he calls the hidden astrological crack, the specific combo that unlocks this.
Okay, what's the formula?
Pluto in Aquarius in your 12th retrograde, we talked about that. Saturn leaving Pisces after 2.5 years of crushing you into self-definition, that initiation.
Right.
The May 28 new moon sextile Saturn and Neptune in your second. Putting it all together, he says the result is you now own your power, not just feel it.
Own it, not just sense it vaguely, but actually embody and wield it.
Exactly. And his final power statement before the very last lines. You're not the healer. You're the architect of spiritual infrastructure.
Architect. Builder again.
You are no longer the tide. You are now the storm system.
Wow. From passive receptivity to active force.
Yeah.
And the final shock lines.
Two absolute bombs to finish. First, you didn't come here to heal people. You came to end the age of spiritual enslavement.
End the age. A much bigger mission.
And second, this isn't about finding your home. It's about realizing the temple was always you.
The temple was always you. Bringing it all back inside. Just,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. And that truly is the complete May 2025 forecast for Pisces from Lorenzo. Word for word, exactly as he showed it.
Incredible. We know that's a lot to take in, especially for Pisces listeners. Lorenzo's perspective is just so potent. We really do encourage you to sit with it, reflect on these themes.
Absolutely. And remember Lorenzo's own call. If this prophecy ignited something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, subscribe. Let others feel this roar.
Spread the word if it resonates.
And if you're ready to step into your own reign order, your personalized astrology or tarot reading from me, Lorenzo, this is an entertainment. This is your divine blueprint. Links below. Let's write your legacy louder, sharper, and truer than ever before.
So thinking about everything Lorenzo laid out, maybe the question for you listening is, what illusions are you feeling ready to dismantle this May? Inspired by this forecast, what feels like it's time to let go of, to rewrite? Definitely something powerful to consider.